What's the epidemic?
Well, the epidemic, we have enough research on the fact that if you are not breathing well and you're not resting well, you're not recovering well, you will have side effects that can be, they can go anywhere from just being tired to being, having your cells being under stress. And stress is a cause of so many diseases, especially what we call Western diseases, So if you have, a predisposition for disease and your cells are not protecting you, then you're going to get to have that disease earlier in life. And, we can't really say if you don't have a good jaw, you will develop, Alzheimer's. That's not a result that can be,
It's not scientific, yeah.
Yeah, but we know that there's the resting mode, and then there's the active mode. We have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. And we've done work in Stanford with Dr. Sapolsky, who's expert in stress. And he basically knows that the more stress, the more you're going to break down your cells. So we want to be in parasympathetic, which is the rest and repair mode, as opposed to in the sympathetic, which is the fight and flight. Fight and flight is useful, but it should be very short and we should get out of it. But as humans, we're carrying on this stress because we're always thinking we're being, in danger. That's what stress is. Mm-hmm. So our cells are vulnerable. If we are in parasympathetic mode, our cells are not vulnerable. So we want to be as long as possible in this parasympathetic rest and repair, digest. These are the longer times. So when we're asleep, we want to be only in parasympathetic. If our mouth is open and we're struggling to breathe, or if we have sleep apnea, we are going to be the same as if a tiger was attacking us in the middle of the night. So we're going to put all our energy into fighting that stress, and we're going to leave ourselves vulnerable to disease. So these are all theories that we're looking into, but definitely having good sleep, good rest, good breathing will make us healthier. And the other thing is we look better. The health, this is something that's in JAWS, in our appearance chapter. Mm-hmm. If you look better, you're probably going to be healthier because we are designed to be attracted to the mates that are going to have the best possibility to have healthier offsprings. So a nice jaw will look good because it's a healthy jaw, not because we just want to, we think it's an opinion that we look better. We're going to be healthier if we have wider jaws with the possibility to breathe better.
Good. Nope. I was just going to add to that. There's such huge problems with people's sleep. And when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to exercise, people can overdo their food. They can underdo their exercise. People can overdo their exercise, right? You can kind of have this wide variety of things. And what I usually say is, as long as it doesn't negatively impact your sleep, as far as maybe somebody is trying to diet for a bodybuilding show. But once they get down to those last couple of weeks, that better just be a temporary position that you're in because it's going to be very difficult to sleep as you get leaner and more calorie deprived. On the other end of it, you have people that are eating probably too much food before they go to bed. Maybe they traditionally overeat and they're heavy and they're having a hard time going to sleep simply because they may have like sleep apnea, which I would imagine would be related to your body weight, but maybe it's more related to some of the airways. But that's one of the main reasons why we're talking to you today is because so much of this has to do with the way that we breathe. And for people to, sometimes people hear these kind of rabbit holes that we go down and they think it's outrageous or crazy, but I don't think it's crazy or outrageous for us to try to examine how can we breathe better.
Breathing is definitely the one action that is most important. Of everything that we do, breathing is most important. And there's something my ENT was talking about it when we were writing the new book, Nose. He says breathing is the only function that has two organs that we can use for the same. Like we have organs we have two organs doing one thing, like two eyes, two ears. But we only have one function that has two organs. So you can breathe through your nose and your mouth because breathing is so important. And we have to make sure that we optimize the breathing based on whatever we want to achieve. So breathing is not, okay, breathe through your nose all the time. No. As humans, we can breathe through our mouth, and that has helped us be the dominant animal in the planet. We can cool ourselves off. We can breathe through our mouth. If we have an accident with our nose, we can compensate and breathe through our mouth. And we can have that extra air when we need to get away from danger. So breathing through our mouth is not bad. But we have to determine what are we breathing for. And when you're, in athletics, and, that's not necessarily my field, nutrition and bodybuilding and lifting weights and all that, but I am involved in trying to get every sport has different demands of oxygen. You're not going to breathe the same if you're a swimmer that if you're a boxer. A boxer has a device in their mouth, so they cannot mouth breathe when they're doing their sport. And then they stop and they have to recover really fast and they have to get back into the sport. Whereas a swimmer will swim and then they're done. And they mouth breathe. So it's adequate for a swimmer to mouth breathe. And it's fantastic that we can do it because we can go into the pool and swim. A lot of animals cannot. They cannot put their head in the water or whatever.
Power Project fam, this episode is brought to you by Vivo Barefoot Shoes. We've been wearing these shoes for almost a year now. They're flexible. They have a wide toe box. They allow your feet to get connected to the ground, and they will make your feet stronger, and they don't look like shit like a lot of these other barefoot shoes. Andrew, how can they get them?
For the best barefoot shoes on the planet, and they also look really, really good, head over to vivobarefoot.com/powerproject. At checkout, enter promo code PowerProject20 to save 20% off. Again, vivobarefoot.com/powerproject, promo code PowerProject20 to save 20% off. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes. Let's go ahead and get back to this podcast.
So we have to decide what the function is, and then we actually have different types of breathing. We have mixed breathing, we have nasal breathing, we have mouth breathing, we have, different positions that we can keep our jaw depending on what we're trying to do. And in that sense, you want to guide people to breathe the most efficient way for what they're doing, and then try to get as fast as possible into your recovery breathing. Recovery breathing, we call it up-block breathing because that's the breathing where you have a little bubble of space, not air, but space in the roof of the mouth. And that bubble actually holds the tongue away from the airway. So that we call it up-block, like a plane that's flying. The up-block is the wheels that go up, but they stay up without active energy. So you want your athlete or the person to go back into that mode as soon as possible because that's when we regenerate better. And we should spend more time in that position. And that's when, we are looking at athletes and we're trying to do studies to see if their pulse goes back faster to the resting pulse when they're in this position, if their lactic acid is, being used more efficiently when they're in this position. So we got to bring the athlete back into recovery because that's the key. And I know you guys are, you get neurologists in your show too, and we talk about recovery, and you want to regenerate your cells and you want to have protection from disease. So going to that mode of recovery faster is better. And I like to talk about the extremes because that gives us a clear picture of where we're at. And if we look at the extreme in life, when people are dying, they usually have a mouth open. If you go to, a hospice situation, you will see that people are struggling to get air and they open their mouth to get more volume because the respiration in the cell is inefficient. The wall is not allowing the oxygen to go in, so we want more volume, and that's why we open the mouth. When in the other extreme, newborns should only breathe through their nose. They can't even breathe through their mouth. A baby cannot breathe through their mouth, a newborn. So those are the two extremes. We know the baby, everything's new, right? Like you get a new car, everything functions well, everything is, great. And that's the baby. its parts are new. So we're breathing through our nose. When everything is falling apart, we're breathing through our mouth. So what do we want in the middle? To try to stay in the nasal recovery breathing as much as possible, because that's when we are going to, have things work better. And if our cell is efficient and the respiration inside the cell is happening properly, then we don't need a lot of volume. When we need that volume is when we're not getting what we need. Our mitochondria are not getting the energy that they need to function inside the cell because the lungs might not be getting enough air. And that can be because our nose is inefficient or because our jaw is too small and we have things that are in the path of that air, and we have to get more volume because we're not getting that efficiency. So in that sense, for athletes that are working on different programs that you advise, you need to figure out what they're doing and then make sure the recovery is the best possible recovery. Sleep, obviously, is important. If they're doing something short-term, it's fine. But for the long-term health maintenance, you want them to have good sleep. And without good breathing, there's no possibility of good recovery and good sleep.
Is it possible, because we've had a few people that have come onto the show, and we've asked them about snoring, and some of them have said, snoring's not a big deal, but is it possible to be able to breathe through your mouth at night and not have it be a problem for your health, or is that a problem that you need to figure out?
Look, we have a tendency to compensate. And everything, not only humans, every being in the planet can compensate. And the question is who can compensate better and when do you get to the breakdown? If you are snoring a little bit, but you are getting good sleep, your stress is low, you have good body mass index, and there's other things that are good, then snoring might not be a huge problem. If you start gaining weight and you have a very stressful life and you live in a polluted place and you add more things, then you won't be able to compensate. So every individual is different, but the need for oxygen and for nose breathing is the same for everyone. But some of us can compensate better than others, and we can try to thrive. I love the wellness community because the wellness community is not necessarily a sick community. It's actually healthy, but they want to make sure they continue to be healthy. And, some comedians say, they're greedy because they're already healthy, but they want more, right? And yeah, we are greedy. I consider myself healthy, but I don't want to be sick. My ex-husband always says, if Sandra is in pain, the whole world is in pain. So we have to make sure that she's not suffering. So I don't like to be in pain. I don't like to suffer. I like to be healthy. I don't want to have, things that don't work well in my body. That's why I do the work it takes. Mm-hmm. And in any case, we want to be well. We want to make sure we focus on the things that can help anybody be better. And the nose is one of them because, as my ENT that's writing with me now says, the nose doesn't have a disease. Nobody goes and says, I have a disease of my nose. It's very rare. We do have, ear infections. We have, infection in your eye or your throat, but nobody's sick of the nose. So as doctors, they go to medical school and they are taught how to, you have this disease, you cure it this way. You have this disease, you cure it this way. And that's, what you learn in medical school. You don't learn to maintain health, to foster health. And I don't talk about prevention. This I got from Dr. Fuster, Valentin Fuster, in head of cardiology of Mount Sinai in New York. He said, don't talk about prevention. Because prevention is also focusing on, I don't want this one bad thing to happen. Mm-hmm. So prevention is already talking about disease. Talk about fostering health. How can we foster all the activities that will make us healthier? And that's what the wellness community does. And this is what we're trying to teach anybody that comes into the Forwardonics universe is, all these things will make you better. I don't know if they're going to prevent a bad problem from happening, but we know from experience that all these things can help you improve your situation.
Hey, baby. I'm joking. Guys, like, comment, subscribe, and head to the Power Project Discord, all right? I know you enjoyed the video. Speak to y'all soon.